I do think that, I'm optimistic. I do think that we're in for some real short term turbulence. And I I don't know how it resolves itself. I think that I would not be surprised if we had civil disobedience, vandalism, riots that far outstripped what people would say happened on January 6th. In social media, I'm seeing the language ramped up. It's there was a protest a couple weeks ago that was like hands off, but now it's like stand firm. It's we won't take it. I mean, there's definitely a change in tone. Now, going back to what we said before about comfort levels, you know, people who generally want to go to civil war have some, they've lost something. They have a real reason, right? Uh, we have a lot of people that, even if they're not meeting their expectations, they're doing pretty well, right? They're putting food on the table. They have their smartphone. So I don't know whether these people are going to be able to be manipulated into something of a large scale. I think we'll see stuff on a small scale, but whether it becomes large scale or not, I don't know. There's a huge dissatisfaction amongst a lot of people. Um, so I'm optimistic longer term, but I think in the short term, I see a lot of turbulence potentially in the U.S.
But after the turbulence, do you think it'll go up or do you think it'll go down?
I think it'll go up. I do think it'll go up. I do think that so many things outside of politics, technology. I mean, for the U.S., for example, huge boom to the country was the development, of fracking technologies, right? I mean, energy is so critical to life and to progress as a society, right? And all of that incredible fracking technology, has put the U.S. into be the number one exporter of gas, natural gas, right? So huge wins in technology, artificial intelligence driven a lot coming out of the U.S., right? That's going to make additional progress possible, better quality of life, potentially as it's used by doctors and people in a variety of fields. So I'm optimistic because I think the innovation, the U.S. has generally been a powerful, innovative force, for the U.S. and for the world. And I think technology will continue to push us that way or pull us that way, whatever the right phrase is. But we've got some short-term turbulence for sure. But longer term, I believe those technological advancements continue to pull us through, just as they have in the past.
So you're saying basically that the US is going to have its watershed moment, and but after this short spat, if you like, it's
I
going to
think,
work itself out.
I think so. I think so. I think that
Of course, for the better.
for the better, but I also think that there's the chance for some other crazy things that people wouldn't expect. I mean, so for example, if the combination of artificial intelligence and automation propels the U.S. to greater heights in terms of domestic productions, but generates a lot of unemployment. I mean, I think you could see the U.S. tilt a little more towards Europe in terms of like social, safety nets, a universal basic income type thing, which would have been unheard of in the country 10 years ago. I think those things start to get on the table potentially again as expectations. There's a gap between expectations and reality for certain groups of people. Then those things could end up becoming the U.S. could see doing things like that. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, there are conservatives who would argue for UBI, and it's not always been sort of a liberal thing. So all the technology progress is a positive, but there may be things that the government has to do to address the dislocations.